Hey YouTube, what's going on? Mark here, and I'm sorry I've been MIA since the last video. I've been really, busy with real life, duties and stuff like that because sometimes real life again comes first before YouTube, and I basically have had really no video ideas lately. I mean, I will eventually throughout the course of the rest of the season as the weather continues to break here in Northeast Ohio. Considering we just had a meteor go through today, and terrible weather conditions for spring is in the air standards. So I made a good call staying home from work today because I would have been scared out of my mind had I chose to try to risk going in there. And I know I missed the St. Patrick's Day party, but it was for the best, at least for me personally, because I ended up sleeping through it. So I lucked out big time, and I'm just going through a brutal breakup. What happened on my Wello's birthday, my dad's dad, which would have been his Elton Sawyer 98th birthday, which we all know is the GOAT chef Olivia Tiedemann's Kevin Harvick 29th birthday. It's also my lady friend Trish Troyer's birthday as well. But I know I haven't really talked about it too much on here on YouTube or on social media in general. I will not be talking about that in full detail anytime soon. Eventually I will when the time is right, but everything is working itself out, in terms of my, my love life. I mean, I am going to wait a while. I was in another relationship for 2 days only before day 3. The girl changed her mind, but it's okay. I'm going to be okay. As of the end of this week, it'll been 2 weeks since I've been single. So therefore, I just gotta wait patiently, give myself enough time, like I did from October to December 2021, and again from March to October 2022. So therefore, we've done that in the past, waited a long time, those 2 times. So what's stopping us from doing it again here in 2026? So therefore, when if we feel like it's been a long enough wait and we're ready to find love again, one, we gotta make sure we choose wisely. 2, if we do, I mean, there's a good chance we may not. Well, whether we do or not, I mean, obviously we have to. But the thing is, no matter who we choose later, we got to let them know we're never going to get married, because I had my grandmother, my mom's mom, who has been in heaven for a year now, as of March 1st, had a lot of aunts and uncles that were together romantically, grew old together and passed away together, never got married. So therefore, and I basically learned that marriage is a choice, not a requirement. Plus, my parents are getting older, and my grandfather is barely hanging on. He's still somewhat on, operating good, but he's not getting any younger either, considering he's like in his mid-80s. So I don't want to have to endure a situation where I have a wedding and I waited all those years with some girl I wanted to get married to, and then I have the wedding, and then guess what? Not only my mom and dad and grandfather not on this earth to see it because I waited too long, and then they went to heaven before I had the chance to tie the knot and say I do, but stuff like that costs a lot of money. I mean, my other peers of family and friends figured that out in a heartbeat. Some individuals like me, don't know how to figure that stuff out, which proves that marriage is not for everyone, because unlike my parents back in the day and my sister back in 2019, I do not have that kind of money nor how to do stuff like that, and I don't want to have to go through the stress and the hassle of paying all those thousands of dollars for, an engagement party, an engagement ring, wedding plans, marriage license, bachelor party, and then paying a lot to have a kid, all the baby clothes and stuff like that. So therefore, some things are just not for everyone. Just goes to show you that everybody's different. So everybody's, life path and career path is different. So I'm just choosing to never get married as long as I live until the day I take my last breath. So I appreciate you guys, checking up on me through Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger, stuff like that, and TikTok DMs. But some things are just just best to be left unsaid to certain people, because, you can't tell everybody everything. And it just goes for in general too. So thank you for the support. So therefore, but I plan to, this is the first video back, since, the first NASCAR San Antonio doubleheader of 2026, the Subway's Fresh Fit 500 at Phoenix, which is our first one since the COVID vaccine year, and when we took down the cheating McDouchebags at the SBC Center. So therefore, it's good to be back in the saddle here on YouTube, except real life just got in the way all of a sudden. But anyway, this is our first 50-win season since the first year of the post-Duncan era. So therefore, playoff basketball basketball is back in the 210, and this will be Wembanyama's first time playing in the playoffs. So therefore, but this is also our first, 50-win season in the post-pop era, considering, I didn't have TikTok when we were last in the playoffs when I lived here in Sandy Ridge. In the last 3 years, we were actually good. 2014-15, 15-16, and 16-17. And I mean, the low playoff seeding years in 17, 18, and 18, 19, I didn't have TikTok. And then I got TikTok in the middle of the pandemic to lose weight, but I wasn't expecting to blow up 20 plus times and gain all those, thousands of followers that I eventually picked up and still continue to rack up. So therefore, this will be the first time that I'll be broadcasting playoff basketball on TikTok. Considering, we were stuck in purgatory and not making the playoffs for so many years in a row when I had it. Because back when we were making the playoffs with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili, I was broadcasting on Facebook, Instagram, and back in the day, Twitter. But I got rid of Twitter in 2023 and don't plan to ever go back. And now I get to also broadcast it on the community tabs on YouTube. So my team, I live in the 216. I may live in the 216, but my team always has been, always will be, and forever will be in the 210. Dale, 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 210. Dale, 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 210. But enough rambling. We got to go over the elephant in the room. The last two Spurs games I was able to watch against the Nuggets, and then 2 days later, the Hornets. So let's talk about it. First, last Thursday night's game against the Nuggets at the SBC Center in San Antonio. It was Harrison Barnes' first game back from his, mysterious ankle injury that he suffered, waking up from a pregame nap of all things. That goes to show you, or even at old age, the most unexpected things, are not safe when you're getting an injury and when you're getting older. It ended his quote-unquote Ironman streak that date back to the vaccine year in 2021. But unfortunately, with the moment he comes back on this game, like you see right here, Wembanyama sat out with the mysterious ankle soreness. We've shown this season many times that we know how to win without him. I don't remember the record that we had without him because it was such a long time ago towards the beginning of the season when he missed 14 games in a row with the calf injury, including the traditional game here in Ohio against the Cavs that me and my dad go to each and every year for me to see my team here in my home state. Mason Plumlee got some major minutes, behind Cornette, who was substituting for him. And, for the most of the game, first three quarters, third quarter, it came apart a little bit, but we were somehow remembering how we play basketball, other than a few mishaps, but we were still pouring it on like Kerry Wampler for like the first two quarters and most of the third quarter, proving that we can get it done without Wembanyama when done correctly. But unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, Jamal Murray happened and we collapsed. I think we probably win this game even with the collapse in the fourth quarter if Wembanyama was playing. And you know how I know that we most likely win that game if Wemby was playing, despite us, playing like ass in the fourth quarter after pouring it on like Kerry Wampler in the first two quarters and most of the third quarter where it came apart a little bit. Wembanyama's offensive and defensive presence on the elite level would have bailed us out, and we probably would have won, not by much, but we still would have came away with the victory. But because we didn't have him, that's what, really, bit us in the ass, considering, even when we played like that, he always found ways to bail us out. Like, when Anthony Edwards had his career best night against us at SBC Center, we still won because Wembanyama was the one of all people to bail us out, just like how Duncan used to. Whenever we didn't play good and we were about to lose a game we should have won, Duncan bailed us out every single night in and night out. And that was almost a guarantee he was going to. Wembanyama is starting to get to that level, but, there are some games where even when he tries to bail us out, it doesn't work in the end, but eventually he'll get to Duncan's level at full song with some patience. So, therefore, anyway, on to the next game, which was against the Hornets and to close out the homestand we went on. I know we did the King game against the Kings just finished, so therefore 51 wins. So good shit, Spurs. The Kings suck anyway, considering Vassell sat out tonight with some kind of an injury. Cornette sat out last night because of some injury against the Clippers, and we almost gave that one away. And he that shall not be named was even playing. Yet we still somehow won by 4. But hey, a win's a win, considering I know Wembanyama missed 2 clutch free throws to close it out, which would have made it 121 to 115, but somehow we won 119 to 115. So therefore, we will be back in the San Antonio San Antonio Saddle. Why did I almost say Huddle or Haddle? San Antonio Saddle this Thursday night against the Suns back in the SBC Center, which is an 8 o'clock game. But anyway, let's go over the next game which was the last one we did watch this Saturday afternoon.
2 days later.
Wemby did come back for this game, but Harper was out due to the calf injury because you saw him limping, on his way to the scores table 2 nights earlier against the Nuggets. But Wemby was a freak of nature, like the Ricky Martin song in this game, as he literally tore that shit up like Terry Labonte. The Hornets tried to stay in striking distance. Excuse me, I burped a little bit there while I was talking, but it's Wembanyama proved that he and the rest of the Spurs squad was too much for them to handle. It was basically he put on a show, con nipple, put on a show of, not put on a show. What am I saying? Because, his team was on receiving end. He put up a good game, but it wasn't enough to, beat Wembanyama and the Spurs. Not to mention, considering, don't forget, up until 2017-18, our first of 2 consecutive low playoff seeding years, don't just to keep quote unquote that streak alive. We had, 18 consecutive years, I think, of 50-plus wins, starting in 99-2000. We were the defending champions for the first time. And, even during the lockout year, as it were in my junior year in high school at Berea High in 2011, 2012, which I think was only shortened to 60-some games, I think. I don't fucking remember. It was enough for us to still reach our 50 wins mark and still keep our streak going. Just goes to show how good the Spurs have been, even when they come up short in the playoffs without the championship trophy. So, it's good to have 50 wins again for the first time in the post-pop era. We did it once in the post-Duncan era, and, good win for the black and silver against the Hornets on Saturday afternoon. So a nice bounce-back game from the Spurs and Wembanyama after that one loss. They've been the hottest team in the league as of late, and their shooting is picking up at the right time. They're peaking at the right time. They're playing good basketball at the right time. Now, if we can get, the minor injuries, out of the way, with, Vassell, Cornet, I don't think Vassell played tonight. I know Cornet didn't play last night. I don't know if he came back today. And, and Harper, I don't know how he's doing, but get this shit out of the way first. I hope they're just stingers, hopefully, and make sure Wemby stays free of any major injuries, so that way he won't, get affected by this dumb 65-game rule, and he can earn some, end of season awards that he was robbed of for 2 years in a row, Defensive Player of the Year at least, and maybe steal the MVP away from SGA. So therefore, we'll see how deep we can go in the playoffs, considering this will be his first playoff appearance. Most of these, Spurs that have been here since, the pre-Wembanyama days after Duncan Parker Ginobili retired, and, he that shall not be named, and Uncle Dennis set us back for 6 years after that. A lot of these players that were on those teams over the years, including Wemby's first 2 years, have not sniffed a single playoff game. Hell, Wembanyama has not sniffed a single playoff game, but all of that changes this year come next month, after the season finale against the Nuggets on April 12th, after the Food City 500 at Bristol. That'll most likely be the next NASCAR San Antonio doubleheader that we're going to recap. So, therefore, it feels good to be a Spurs fan now. It took us, 6 years, to be good again. And this will be our first playoff appearance since the last non-COVID year in 2019. This will be our first playoff appearance in the post-COVID era. So, therefore, don't forget, all the 5 rings we won, every single house at least gave me 1. West 122nd gave me 99 when I first became a Spurs fan in my second years with the team during the Live and La Vida Loca year with Ricky Martin, which is the same house that gave me Ricky himself, and of course Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Then when I got to Lenore, the house that gave me NASCAR and Christmas 2000, going into the 2001 Daytona 500. Rest in peace, Dale Earnhardt Sr. And, which the Spurs did have a game the same day the Dale Sr. passed away against the Raptors, and we bitch slapped them. But the 7-year-old me wasn't, even as a Spurs fan, wasn't thinking about that at that day. I was very excited and ready for my first race, being my 7th birthday. The house that gave me NASCAR also gave me 3 Spurs championships: 03, 05, 07, which totaled 4, and then Sandhurst gave me 5. Even gave me the 2014 ring, which totaled 5, but I should have had 2 of them. I should have had 13 and 14, and which 2013 still haunts me. It's like, damn it, we could have been 6-time champions. Duncan could have won a back-to-back championship for the first time in his career. The Spurs would have won back-to-back championships for the first time in franchise history, so that way Duncan and the team as a whole, Duncan alone and the team as a whole could prove the haters wrong and shut them the fuck up about how they never won a back-to-back title. And they would have shut Phil Jackson's dumb ass the fuck up, considering, But that 2014, as happy as I was for us to win that and get back at, the Heat and send LaFleur and Sixtus bitch ass back to Cleveland, I wish they wouldn't have scheduled the finals, Game 5 to while me and my dad were out of town for the MIS race weekend, because we had to watch Game 5 from the hotel. I mean, we decided to watch it in the lobby instead of the room we were in, but I wish we would have swept them before we took off to MIS. And, that's why I wish we would have won the year before, too, if we were going to win back-to-back. Considering if we would have been watching that at home on Sandhurst, oh, yeah, I would have been screaming at the top of my lungs and going all crazy and jumping all over that fucking basement on Sandhurst like I should have done the year before, which is why, as we all remember, my dad was, taking cover and taking cover because and during that game 6 when we were 28 seconds away from winning it with a semi-huge lead, because you know why he was ducking for cover and bracing himself, because 19-year-old me was getting ready to celebrate, go crazy, and wreck that fucking basement. But 2014 still kills me, considering I couldn't scream and yell like I wanted to in that hotel, because my dad and I would have been banned for life, from that hotel. And on top of that, we would have gotten a noise complaint. So the last time I truly got to enjoy a Spurs championship with be as loud as I wanted to be was 07, when we swept what eventually turned out to be the 2016 Mickey Mouse champions in the 2-1-6, considering some of these, fans of that fraudulent team want to talk shit about us because, instead of them focusing on that Mickey championship they lucked into in 2016, some of them want to, talk shit about us, saying we would never do the things that you done. Well, regardless, it sounds like some of you Crapalier fans are still salty about the 2007 NBA Finals. So, therefore, some of you, a lot of you weren't even alive for that, ass beating we gave you. Considering I was 13 years old, you're lucky that I lived in Michigan back then, and not in your territory. But I digress. That's a conversation for another day. But that was the last time I was able to truly, go batshit crazy over a championship, considering, 99 was Minnesota 22nd, 03, 05, 07 was Lenore, and 2014, even though it should have been 2013 to go with it, was Sandhurst. But ever since I moved into this house, I've been here 11 years in Sandy Ridge and not a single championship. I hope I can win at least one championship with Wembanyama in this house before eventually one day, someday, it's time to leave and move on to the next house. I mean, obviously, as much as I hate to say it, nothing lasts forever, obviously, but I digress. I mean, let's soak in the time we have in Sandy Ridge while we're still here, because, we're the mascot of the happiest place in Northeast Ohio, and of all people, the Crouch of Doom's wife, Jerry Springer lady, even said it herself. It wouldn't be the same compared to other neighbors that have left Sandy Ridge. All the names I've left over the years. Compared to them, if I were to leave, which eventually it has to happen, but that's not yet. I mean, considering, Romani Malco and DJ Nash were talking about that with the Million Little Things back in the day. I mean, obviously, Jerry Springer lady's right. When I do leave Sandy Ridge to move on elsewhere, even if I stayed in, whether I stayed in Ridgeville or not, Sandy Ridge would not be the same without me. And she's 100% right. I mean, sure, it's been sad to see a lot of our friends leave over the years. I mean, a lot of them have come back to visit, yeah, which is good. I mean, we got one leaving next week. But compared to me, guess what? It wouldn't be the same. I'm the one that keeps Sandy Ridge going each and every year during Spring is in the Air, Fun in the Sun, and the Warm Part of Adventures in Autumn. So then once I do leave, which someday, the Sandy Ridge is going to lose that spark that made them what they are today, no matter who's here or who's not. So hopefully we can get at least one ring Wembanyama is going to win some rings, obviously, but I want to make sure he gets at least one with me, and for not just with me, but gets one while we're still in this house, so we can say Sandy Ridge gave us one ring, even though it was 6 years too late. But anyway, our next game we're gonna watch on TV with Jacob and Sean will be on Thursday night after our time with Cassie is done. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. And tomorrow we're gonna be performing in our first talent show at ViaQuest for the first time since 2023, October 13th, in between the death anniversary of my Willow and of course my dad's birthday. So it's gonna be fun. I may or may not record it, but I will let you know. That way, all of you can see it across the interwebs. And, as I always say, just for funsies, all the celebrities in the world from the world of TV, and of course the celebrities are just internet famous and not TV famous, well, they'll be watching all over for it along with their set of family members and of course their set of friends that we've become friends with over the years because of my connections with them over the course of their careers on TV and their career just on the internet alone. So therefore, I will catch you all for whatever I make next. And the next Spurs game we watch, which will be on Thursday against the Phoenix Suns at the SBC Center in San Antonio with Jacob Toby and Sean Elliott, which we will be posting a post-game review. And the next Sandy Ridge venture, we will definitely record that one for sure. I promise. And the next NASCAR race we'll be catching will be my sister's, let me see here. Bobby Hamilton Jr. 35th birthday when we go over the Carolina Dodge Dealers 400 this coming Sunday. So see you later, everyone. And as always, go Spurs, go. Go Spurs, go!